I'm going to start about the unit number 1, stresses and strain. I'm from Sanjeevani College of Engineering, Kopargaon, Department of Mechanical Engineering. So for making these videos, I have used some books like R.K. Bansal, S.S. Rattan, Ram Uttam, Avikatti and Sarkar. There are some foreign authors also are there, like B. Johnston, Ryder, Popo, Singer, Pointer. In this session, we are going to study about the stress and strain diagram and mechanical properties. For conducting the tension test, we are using one specimen. So the DO is the original diameter and gauge length will be there. So we are turning the specimen up to required diameter. So diameter can be taken up to 12 millimeter and the gauge length will be 5 times the diameter. So as per the Indian standard, we are using this ratio. A tensile test is generally conducted on a standard specimen to obtain the relationship between stress and strain, which is an important characteristic of the material. So for conducting tension test, we have to use a standard specimen, like diameter will be of 12 millimeter and the length will be of 60 millimeter. So L by D ratio will be 5 in case of when we use the IS code, Indian Standard Codes. In the test, the uniaxial load is applied to the specimen and increased gradually. The corresponding deformations are recorded throughout the loading. So we apply the tensile loading and then whatever the load, we take the reading of the load and extension, whatever the deformation or change in length of the rod. Stress strain diagrams of the material vary widely depending upon whether the material is ductile or brittle in nature. So for the different materials, the diagram will be different. So there are also some materials which show the yield point. There can be three cases. One is with the yield point, without yield point. So ductile material ductile material. Some ductile material will show the diagram with yield point. Some ductile metals will not show the yield point. And the third diagram will be of brittle material. If the material undergoes a large deformation before failure, it is referred to as a ductile material or else brittle material. So this is the diagram, stress and strain diagram obtained from the standard tension test on a structural steel specimen. So here structural steel will not give us the, this is the diagram showing the stress and strain. So there are some points. So this is the initial point, we start the test and then we record the load and extension. There are some points on the stress and strain diagram like proportional limit, elastic limit, yield point, ultimate strength and finally breaking strength or rupture strength. The stress and strain diagram is a straight line from the origin to a point called the proportional limit. So this is the starting point. So when we start the test, whatever the stress will be proportional to the strength up to certain limit. So that's limit will be called as the proportional limit. This plot is a manifestation of the Hooke's law. Stress is directly proportional to strain. So within the up to this point, the stress will be directly proportional to strain. This law does not apply to the entire diagram. So Hooke's law will not be applicable for entire diagram because the linearity will be ceases after the proportional limit. Its validity ends at the proportional limit. Beyond this point, stress is no longer proportional to strain. So stress will not be proportional to the strain after the proportional limit. The second point is elastic limit. A material is said to be elastic if after being loaded, the material returns to its original shape when the load is removed. So when you start the test and when you remove the load, if the material regains its original size and shape, then it's called as within the elastic limit. So up to the elastic limit only, when you remove the load, it can gain its original size and shape. The elastic limit, as its name implies, a stress beyond which the material is no longer elastic. After the elasticity, the material will become plastic. The permanent deformation that remains after the removal of the load is called as the permanent set. The elastic limit is slightly larger than the proportional limit. However, because of the difficulty in determining the elastic limit accurately, it is usually assumed to coincide with the proportional limit. Next point is the yield point. The yield point where the stress and strain diagram becomes almost horizontal is called the yield point, and the corresponding stress is known as the yield stress or yield strain. Beyond the yield point, there is an appreciable elongation or yielding of the material without a corresponding increase in the load. Indeed, the load may actually decrease while the yielding occurs. However, the phenomenon of yielding is unique to structural steel. So we can observe the yielding in the case of structural steel. Other grades of the steel alloys and other metals do not yield, as indicated by the stress and strain curves of the material. Incidentally, these curves are typical for a first loading of the materials that contain appreciable residual stresses produced by the manufacturing or aging process. After repeated loading, these residual stresses are removed and the stress strain curves become practically straight lines. Next method is offset method to find out the yield point. For materials that do not have a well-defined yield point, if the materials do not show the yield point, yield stress is determined by this offset method. This method consists of drawing a line parallel to the initial tangent of the stress strain curve. This is the initial line, so we have to take the tangent and to draw the parallel line to this one. This line starts at the prescribed offset strain, usually taken as 0.2%, that is 2 divided by 1000. The intersection of this line with the stress strain curve is called as the yield point. So here this line intersect, that point will be equal to the yield point of the metal which do not show the yield point. Ultimate stress. This stress when you calculate it will be also called as the proof stress. Ultimate stress. The ultimate stress or ultimate strength, as it is often called, it is the highest stress on the stress diagram. So ultimate stress is the maximum stress of the stress and strain diagram. The rupture stress or rupture strength is the stress at which the failure occurs. For structural steel, the nominal rupture strength is considerably lower than the ultimate strength, because the nominal rupture strength is computed by dividing the load at the rupture load by the cross-section area, original cross-section area. So in the case of, there are two graphs, one is the engineering stress and strain curve, another is the two stress and strain curve. In the case of engineering stress and curve, we divide the load upon the original area and then find out the curve. The rupture strength is calculated using the reduced area of the cross-section where the fracture occurred. The difference in the two values results from a phenomenon known as necking. As failure approaches, the material stretches very rapidly, causing the cross-section to narrow. Because the area where the rupture occurs is smaller than the original area, the rupture strength is larger than the ultimate strength. However, the ultimate strength is commonly used as the maximum stress that the material can carry. Next is working stress and the factor of safety. The working stress, also called as the allowable stress, it is the maximum safe axial stress used in design. In most designs, the working stress should be limited. In most designs, the working stress should be limited to values not exceeding the proportional limit, so that the stresses remain in the elastic range. This will be shown on the straight line portion of the stress strain diagram. However, because the proportional limit is difficult to determine accurately, it is customary to base the working stress on either the yield stress or ultimate stress divided by the suitable number called the factor of safety. Thus, the yield point is selected as the basis for determining the structural steel, because it is the stress at which the prohibitively large permanent set occurs. So in the case where there is a large permanent stress, we are taking yield point for the design. For the other metal, we are taking working stress, is usually based on the ultimate strength. Thank you.